welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I want to talk about the current energies, what's going on right now for a lot of people. Not everyone, but it might be something that comes up for you, in a little while or soon. And so this information might be helpful. What I'm describing about the energies right now might be helpful to you at a certain point. But what's happening for a lot of us is we're making really, really big moves. And so I think the way I want to describe this, it's like we're always expanding, we're always expanding, but often people, let's just say like you're in a certain like a bubble, right? You're in a certain bubble, and so your expansions are still within that bubble. So it's all kind of maybe the same. We could say it like it's the same lessons, or it's the same frequency, or it's the same. There's something about it that's all the same. It's like it might be different versions. It might be you're seeing it from a different level, but it's just all kind of within the same thing. Okay, so as you go through expansions, you can be like, wow, I got to get my bearings, and you kind of have to acclimate and adjust and make some arrangements. But every once in a while, there are times where you jump into an entirely new bubble. Okay. And I don't know that everybody does that. Maybe some people just work on one sort of like group of soul lessons in a lifetime and they don't go to a different bubble. Some people have like many different bubbles, many different incarnations throughout one life, so just kind of depends what you've signed up for. But a lot of us that did sign up for more than one bubble, or more than two or more than three or whatever it is for you, this is a time when that shift is happening. And so, so in that case, it's not just an expansion where you can feel kind of comfortable in it because you're in the same framework. You're in a completely different framework. Okay, you're in a completely different framework. I feel like this as I'm making these hand movements, I'm remembering that dream that I was talking about it was around the 1111 portal where I had this dream where I was in a certain frequency, but there was this other frequency over here that was like just kind of hanging around, and I could like feel it behind the veil, but I wasn't in it. And at the end of the dream, I was in it, and it was like, oh my gosh, like where am I? I don't know what to do. I woke up with kind of all this anxiety, and there was this other, this other thing I had been in was gone. I knew I couldn't go back to it. So I'm kind of wondering if that's when things start, for me at least, that's when I started sensing it. That's when I started sort of making this move. But just, since that X flare, since, last weekend, for me, it's like something has really, really happened. And I'm understanding now why in that last reading, what was coming up was the call to really lean into our souls. And it was Fox medicine, where Fox spirit, where it was like think on your feet, and you're gonna need to stay really close to your soul, because your soul is gonna guide you in how to make these next moves. So now I'm understanding this, because a lot of us are in this new bubble, or we're about to be in a new bubble if we signed up for that. And so we don't know the rules here. You could say you don't know the rules yet. You don't know it's almost like the gravity is different, or and gosh, I'm tempted to talk about it just in terms of like frequency and dimensional frequencies, and moving out of 3D, out of 4D into 5D. But I don't really feel like talking about it in that way. It's not feeling. I want to talk about it more like the bubble. I want to talk about it more like the bubble, because somehow that's capturing the energy of it more for me right now. It brings it in more personal. I guess that's what it is, the more visceral felt experience of it, where it's like you just feel like you're in a different space. And so, okay, so sorry, I lost my train of thought, because my mind is going in all these different analogies. Let me just gather myself a moment. Yeah. So because we don't know the rules, because this isn't something that we've been like mastering, we've been mastering this other bubble, and once you master it is when you move. It's also interesting. I'm seeing this when you move into a new bubble. Sometimes, gosh, there's so much that I want to say. Am I going to be able to get this out? Am I going to have to start this video over again? I'm just going to keep going, because this is really fresh, new energy, and it's like finding the words. I might fumble around a little bit. I'm just going to be okay with that. Yeah, just be okay with that. But So when you're in this new bubble, sometimes people that are in this old bubble can look at you kind of fumbling around in this new bubble, and because they're like, they've mastered this bubble just like you have. They've mastered this bubble, they can kind of be like, "Oh, when you start talking from the new bubble, they can be like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Clearly you don't know what you're talking about," because they're masters of this bubble, but they can't see that you're in this whole other bubble, this whole other new bubble, okay? And so, that can happen when you get into one of the signs, one of the things that will tell you that you're in a new bubble is you can start getting a lot of backlash from other people. So one of the analogies that I was thinking of is like, so your the parameters, the parameters are different. So it's almost like you have to like secure the boundaries of your new bubble. You get in there, you have no idea what's what. You have no idea how far out it goes. You have no idea like, what is north and what is south and what is east and what is west. And, you're just kind of in this. So I had this analogy of like cats will roam the perimeter of their territory. And so my daughter used to say that our cat Starla, she would say, "Oh, Starla is guarding the edge of our energy field." And so my daughter was really young when she said this, but she's super connected. So, I was sort of like, wow, that's really interesting. And I wasn't really sure what she meant. This was like a long time ago. And Starla was guarding the boundaries of our energy fields. And so last week I was talking with a friend of mine, and she was going through, a lot of purging. Like obviously she was like kind of like, because when we do move from one bubble to another at that threshold moment as we're leaving one, there can be a lot of disturbance and a lot of trials or triggers or stuff like that just kind of like alchemize us to get us to pop into this new one. Okay, so she was going through that. She was going through a lot of just like energy dispelling, and just I can't remember like how she described what she was feeling. I think she said there were like elephants stomping around in the room. I think maybe that was the analogy that she used. But what happened was her cat went farther out. Like he wasn't in the house, he was going like farther out, and it just made me think of that. Like he's protecting the perimeter. He's protecting the perimeter. And so when we come to a new bubble, the perimeter is vulnerable. It's like we're vulnerable because we don't have this bubble mastered yet. We don't have the parameters. We don't have the boundaries secured. We don't have the boundaries secured like we did over here. So a lot of the times when you get in a new bubble, right, you start having a lot of like boundary breaches where, again, people from this bubble over here might start, coming in on you, and, you might notice you're like, what the heck? Like, I haven't been attacked like this in a really long time, or varying degrees of attack might be, a large word. Sometimes it applies. Sometimes it's like a subtle attack or an energetic attack, or just, just somebody like kind of like, just having a lot to say about, about you all of a sudden. And so, yeah, so the need to kind of like, so when you start experiencing that and you're feeling like you're in this new space and you start having, because I've seen this many times, I've seen this several different times in my life, when I would go to a new bubble, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I'm having to do all this boundary work again, because you're securing the perimeter. I'm just going to trust that I'm making sense. Okay. So you're securing the perimeter, and it's reflected in our animals, just like my friend with her cat. It's like they sense these things. They can tell when our auric field is different, when our frequency is different, when we're radiating different, And so one of the things that I've remembered to do this time is to just have the intention, like I've been saying, only beings of highest light and integrity may stand in my presence. And I think I must have gotten this from somewhere, because I don't think that I came up with this, but I would say it like facing all directions. I'd say it facing east. I'd say it, all the directions. So it's like in that sense, it's like, you're reaching out to the parameter. You're sending it out to the edges of your sphere, the edges of your bubble, and you're just kind of securing it. You're having that intention to do that, knowing that, at this time, knowing, if you're finding this kind of to be true from your own experience or reflection, or just entertaining this idea in case you start feeling some of these things that I'm describing, you could try this, where you just kind of set that intention for the boundaries to be secured. Another thing that I do, I got this from Magenta Pixie, but I kind of adapted it, and I can't remember what part she had said and what part was just me, but it's like, this vertical axis, like straight down my body, and then the horizontal axis, this way, and then diagonals, and then I put it in a sphere and I spin it, and I just spin it, and I just kick stuff out. It's like, that's just, like how I'm walking around, as much as I can conjure that image, where It's just kind of like, holding your sovereign space, holding your space as you figure out where you're at, and as you redefine yourself. So the other thing that can happen when you're in a new sphere is like you have to redefine all your relationships. So maybe people that were matching you, or activities that were matching you. You find yourself, kind of having like, your gears are grinding a little bit with it. So you have to redefine. You have to set new boundaries, with the things that were in your life before. Maybe some things need to leave, maybe new things are coming in, or maybe even things that you recently started, because, when you're about to complete a level, it's like, you have a lot of confidence, you're in your mastery, and you start new things and you start new offerings, and, usually that's going to be part of the thing that you're moving into, but you might start it in this kind of like old energy that you're graduating out of. So then once you're in this new bubble, you have to you have to redo it. You have to up level everything that you did. And that's one of the things that can be really tricky about expansion of consciousness, is like our society tells us, we're conditioned to be like, well, you have to be consistent, and you have to commit to things, and you have to, just follow through, or whatever it is. But if your priority is expansion of consciousness, then, if you're trying to make the world happy by being consistent, or not, looking flaky or whatever, then, you're kind of putting your own consciousness, your own expansion, your own ability to be a master of this reality. You're putting it on hold for the status quo. You're putting it on hold to be presentable. You're putting it on hold to not upset people. So as you start moving into new bubbles, you got to be okay upsetting people. You got to be okay speaking your truth. And that's the other thing. One of the things that you can really tell when you're coming into a new thing, a whole new thing, is you start really using your voice, and you're speaking up, because you're defining your boundaries, and you kind of have to, because it's like you're preserving this, because when you're able to jump into a new level, or jump into a bubble, it's like you've worked really hard, and you've attained this thing, and it's like you have to hold it sovereign, because nobody's going to hold it sovereign for you. You will start finding people that are in that same consciousness and in that same bubble, and they'll help you, and you'll help each other, and you'll help each other to flesh out what can be created from this new space. But I lost my train of thought, because there's just so many things I'm trying to say. You will meet people that are there with you. You have to be willing to disappoint people. Oh, right, because there's a lot of the people that were with you over here aren't necessarily going to be with you here, so it's like you're preserving this space, and it becomes like almost primal, like almost like an animal, where you're just like, and that's where speaking up comes, because it's like you're trying to secure and anchor this new level of consciousness that you've earned and that you've birthed within yourself. Okay, so a lot of us are doing that right now. A lot of us are doing that. A lot of us are finding our voices and finding our conviction and sticking with ourselves. We're not making ourselves small, and even if people don't like us or don't understand us, it's like you just have to stay with that. You have to preserve this, because we're birthing something. Humanity is birthing something in this new space, and you will find other people there that can hear you, and that can build with you and create with you, and you can build the new world that you're seeing. And I know we know this, but it's just the level of jumping that is possible, and that a lot of us are doing right now, is really, really intense. It's really intense. And so again, with the perimeters and the boundary stuff that comes in, and you can get confused, and you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know who to trust, and it's like things are dying off, and just okay. So the perimeter, the boundaries, knowing that this is something that goes on, and to just trust that all the pieces are going to fall into place. So, okay, how long did I talk for? 13 minutes. It's hilarious. So I'm going to just move into the cards and see how they might want to talk about this. So act as if. Okay, yeah, so there it is again. This is a card that always comes up. It's a 5 card. 14 is a 5 card. So big change. We're going through changes. We don't really know where we're at. We don't really know how to do this. So just kind of like act as if. And again, there's that thing of like really leaning into your soul, really leaning into your higher wisdom and your higher aspects, because you can't go off of what you did over here, because it's a new thing. It's a new thing. And so you have to just really be in the moment and pay attention. And that was that whole think on your feet from last week. And listening to your soul, and the like sort of like programmed part of us that just wants the gears to click, and you just want to be on autopilot. But it's like, that's not a time for this. This is think on your feet, be in the moment, act as if, just kind of flow with it, and trust that, like, as you allow yourself to live through yourself in the moment, you're going to start to understand the terrain. You understand it as you live it. And again, the others that you're meeting that are of that frequency, you're starting to meet them because they're, and they're in this bubble as well. You guys are going to figure it out and birth it together. But just kind of like have confidence that like as you walk it, it's act as if you know what you're doing. That's not quite the right thing. No, you're not acting, but I think you know what I mean. It's like you just go with it. You just trust that as you go with it, it's gonna flesh out for you, and you're gonna start to, your gears are gonna start to move. I always see this as, for some reason, as like gears of a clock. So it's like the gears are gonna start to click in. Just go with it, trust it, flow. No, and we were talking about that last time too. There's aspects of ourselves that come through. Like I had my dragon aspect come through. Like it came through. That's what I realized. It's an activation. Dragons are activations. It was absolutely an activation into this new level, this new bubble. But it's with me. Like she's green. She's fiery. She's kind of like this color, and she just speaks through me. And she primal screams, and it's like I haven't been in touch with this part of myself. Maybe other times in my life when I was really when I was jumping levels, that's when I think the dragon, and I was talking with somebody recently, and was the insight that she had, that the dragons come when we're jumping, where it's like it's almost like you won't go. It's such a big jump that you won't go unless you have some sort of like fiery activation within yourself to push you. And that's the dragon energy that just kind of like blazes out your mouth. It blazes out your mouth, and it gets you to, your fire, your speak, your goddess talk, your god talk, your magician, your wizard, where you're just speaking your reality into existence by claiming it and aligning with it and defending it, defending the boundaries of the fortress of this soul level that you've discovered within yourself through all of your inner alchemy, through all of the trials and the crunches and the compression to your soul. You've gotten on this new level, and you're defending it. And so anyway, that's the dragon piece for me, and it's awesome, and it's intense. But okay, so all right, we get the 7 of air and the 6 of wands, exactly. So this is separation consciousness. This is where everything's fragmented. It's like, you're worrying about the world. It's like you're seeing things as separate. You're seeing us and them, and good and bad. And this is the 4th dimension. Separation consciousness, victim consciousness. You're powerless. Like you only believe in what you can see. You don't have that access. Okay, so this is the victory. And there's the bubble. It's like you've risen higher. You're seeing from a new vantage point. You're seeing from a different perspective. And it's like the perspective of this. It's like you can't see from it anymore. You've outgrown it. You've awakened out of it, and you're just you've mastered that level. You've mastered that level, and now you're in another level. I don't know if that's the right word. I like bubble. It just sounds more like neutral. You're in a new bubble. Look at all these little bubbles. There are all these different bubbles. All these people are in different bubbles. Some people, maybe like a lot of people are in one bubble, and there's a lot of consensus, and everybody kind of validates each other, and like uses the same words and the same language, and this is reality. And somebody said to me the other day, today actually, like how can thoughts create reality? Look at the wars. And I've been having a lot of this come my way lately. Look at the wars. Look at what's going on in the world. How can thoughts create reality? And it's like, he said, have you read too many fantasy books? And it's like, okay, well, I can see that perspective. I can see how you can feel that way. Absolutely. And that's sort of the consensus reality. But once you understand, how words and thoughts and beliefs create reality, and how your beliefs can be funneled. They can be funneled into, fear programs, can stoke your emotions, or movies, or things that get you to look and think a certain way. And there's all this like collective consciousness energy, and then things manifest. Like if in the beginning was the word, and that everything is energy, then I don't even feel like trying to describe that right now, because I feel like most of the people that watch this channel already know what I'm talking about. So, and that's what the point of this was to find tribe, to put our minds together, to validate each other, because there's a lot of this. There's a lot of this that tells you you're wrong and tells you you're fantasy, and, we don't believe that anymore. There was a time in my life where I couldn't hold on to my truth, and I just went in whatever bubble everybody else is at, and I tried to like squeeze in there, and you know how it is, but it's like we're coming together to support each other in the vision that we've found, the truth that we've found within our souls, through the crunches, through the work, through the trials that we've signed up for, and you know, having that victory over separation consciousness, and coming together and putting our thoughts together, putting our minds together, finding that soul family, communing and supporting each other and validating each other. And it's like, yes, I see this too. You know, it's like somebody said to me, there's no truth, you know, there's no, which I get, you know, this is another person, you know, it's like, it's been a lot this week, but you know, there's no truth. And it's like, well, there is a higher mind, and there is, you know, and that's what I had said to him, like, you know, I found this within myself, and there are other people that found the same truth within themselves, and you speak the same language. You just get on that telepathic network, and you know exactly what, you know, because when you know, and it's not something that you can prove or that you can give facts for, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the victory, and just coming together with the soul family to support each other, because there's a lot that doesn't support it, and we know this. So, all right, big jump for those of us that signed up to jump at this time. All right. See what we get here. Yes. Oh my gosh, I haven't gotten this one in a reading yet in this deck. Yeah, that's right. So very similar message, 7 of Air and 6 of Wands, which is what we just had, which is victory over separation conscious. Now we take it higher octave. Okay, we take it higher octave. We got 2 major arcanas. We get the Devil. Okay, look at this, is like the sexiest, you know, like card in my deck of all the decks I have, and you know, he's so alluring. Like just come, you know, come, like this, you know, the upside down world. Like this is the true reality. This is the true reality. You're wrong, you know. Like let me tell you how wrong you are, and how stupid you are, and how delusional you are. You know, it's like, and you can get trapped in that, and you can even do that. You can do that to other people, you know. You can do that to them. You can validate the cages, and you can validate the lies, and you can validate the lack and limitation, you know, rather than speaking, you know, speaking from the soul, and speaking from the higher level that liberates people and frees people and creates a new world. Like, you know, who are we working for? Who are we working for? Do we have control over our minds? You know, so anyway, the wheel. Okay, so the wheel, that's change, the turning of the wheel. It's breaking out. It's breaking out of these chains, breaking out of this spell. You break out of the spell, you're free. You're free. You've had a victory. Okay. So in this new level, in this new bubble, you know, none of this stuff has a hold on you anymore, and it doesn't matter how much somebody will defend it and, you know, play it out and put it in your face. You know, you're on top of it. You're on top of it. You can balance on one foot. It doesn't phase you. They can yell and scream at you and call you names and tell you you're stupid and delusional and whatever, and you're balancing on one foot with your eyes closed in the clouds on top of many, many discs, and nothing can throw you off, because you know this truth so deep inside of you, because you've had to fight. You've sat with, some of us has stared Satan in the eye. You know, you've gone so deep. You've remembered, you know, for me, it's like I viscerally remembered past life memories of genetic, you know, what's the word? Mutilation, yeah, but genetic, experimentation, you know, like all these really, really dark things I felt. I didn't remember the specifics. My daughter is remembering the specifics of this stuff, but it's like I was viscerally remembering it because of the energy that was going on in the world. And it was like, it was so terrifying, because it was like, I have been trapped in that. I've been trapped in that for centuries, you know, and a lot of people are still trapped in this. A lot of people are still trapped in this. And for me, it was like, I am not. I had this dream. My daughter and I had the same dream. I'm really fired up right now, because, you know, I'm in this new space, and I'm Dragon Woman right now. So bear with me. I'll even out. I'll temper out. I'll find my perimeter. I'll get settled, but it's like I haven't yet. So it's like, here's me raw. Here's raw in this new level, you know, like feel this energy, because you might be here at some point, you know, yourself, or you might be there now, or you might be, you know, listening to this and you've already stabilized, and then you can, you know, like, you know, send out some, you'll be listening, and you'll be having the telepathy and the brain waves of anchoring, and that will assist those of us that are still, you know, trying to like settle in here. Okay, so Yeah, and again, it's like we've been working for this. A lot of us have been working for this liberation for a really long time, and it's like, in this bubble, it's like as we're mastering this level, and we start bridging over to the things. So we spend some time over in the new bubble, sort of like astral project in the new bubble. I don't know if I'm making sense to anybody, but that's okay. I'm making sense to whoever needs to hear this. Okay, so you're astral projecting over here, but then at a certain point you jump completely, and so that's what this is. That's what this is. So and that's what's so different. Is it's like you've really left it behind. You've really left this behind. Okay, and you've earned it, and you've worked really, really hard. You've disciplined your mind. You've practiced and you've taken risks. You've made declarations, and you've been willing to die for it. You've been willing to die. Like, I don't, for me, I was like, I don't care if this is fantasy. I don't care if this isn't real. It's like I'm putting all my eggs in this basket because I'm tired of hanging in between two worlds. I'm tired of being tormented by this energy. I'm jumping. And if I die, then I fucking die. And I didn't die. I had victory and change and openness, So, that's the level of soul. And so the more of us that do that, or even just any of us doing that, we stand so solidly in this vibration that, one person in alignment with source consciousness is so much more powerful than a million people aligned with this energy and this distortion. So, it doesn't take that many of us. And, if you're not resonating and whatever, then that's fine. That's totally fine. So, yeah. All right. So let's see what else it wants to say. Definitely don't feel very masterful right now in my anything, but again, just showing up as is, and really just about representing the energy, having the energy that I'm embodying and that I'm in, transmitting through me, the codes in my energy, the codes in my voice. Like, my words are sloppy, my presentation is sloppy, but like, get the codes. There's transmissions in this energy because it's a big jump. So, okay, here it is again. This is the card of activation, the Eight of Wands. Yeah, just like fast moving energy. This, again, it's an activation card for me. Okay, so that's where we're at. A lot of energy. As I was talking about transmissions, here's a transmission card. It's coming. It's coming at us. We're receiving energy. We're receiving transmissions. We're receiving codes from the sun, from the other people that are popping on like this. My daughter did a reading when we first started this channel. She's not on the channel anymore. We took off all her videos last night, and and I rewrote the write-up. It was like something that got us going, but she did a collective reading, and that's when we realized, like, oh, when we do collective readings, when we read for other people, it's like really, really powerful because really our message is coming through. But she got this card, and she was talking about this time. There was a time, and this was about, when was this? This was probably... we started this channel in May, so it would have been April, March. It might have been March, February, about a year ago, actually, maybe a little less than a year ago. But she was doing this reading, and it was like there was this time where something happened in the energy, something happened in the field, in the world, in the behind, where everybody that had signed up to do this activation hears it. And it's like, there's like this, and everybody goes, oh, and looks at it. Everybody knows. It reminds me of that, if you've been watching these videos, of that sun dream that I was talking about, where I had the two suns rise. And it was like when the two suns rose beside each other, everybody knew to move into the pavilion. Everybody knew to move into the pavilion. Everybody just knew that's what it meant. Even if you didn't know that's what it meant, you knew to go in there. The pavilion, the bubble, the new bubble. You just go because you signed up to go, and your souls remember. There's something in the energy right now that's doing that. It's calling. Last week it was like, oh, it's calling us to our souls. But why? It's calling us to our souls because we need to be connected to our souls in this place that we're going. Okay, in the place that we're going, there's only soul. It's only soul, and so that's it. That's the call. That's the movement. But anyway, I'm just remembering that reading and that card that came up to me because I think that's where we're at. I think that's where we're at. Really freaking amazing. Okay, let me do this deck because it's trying to something in my mind. It's trying to fall over here. All right, what else? What else do you want to say? It's powerful, powerful energy. Okay, so that card flipped. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Prince of Pentacles. So this is the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Earth, and this is a card of mission. This is a card of mission, and this is a card of commitment to the mission. So that's kind of like this. Those of us that are on mission to enter into this higher space, to anchor and then it comes out with the Four of Wands. So this being a card of celebration, joining with others in celebration, but it's also a card of unity. I often see this as a unity consciousness card, the Four of Wands. It's often depicted, you have this like 11. It's like an 11-11 thing where you cross through this portal. You cross through, you go into this new bubble. Okay, so we're all going. Those of us that signed up, this mission card, those of us that signed up to do this, we're going at this time. We're moving together. The energies are supportive of this now. We might not realize that that this is what's happening, but if you're identifying any of the things I talked about with like the boundaries and people kind of coming in on you, people from the other bubble kind of giving you a hard time all of a sudden, when like for years you weren't like attracting that in, and now you are, and what the heck, it's like that being signs, all signs of this. Okay, us moving in. All right, moving in mission. So it's just kind of validating what I said. Let me pull an Angels of Atlantis card. 30 minutes. Oh, these videos are getting longer. Okay, yes, exactly. Planetary cycles. So this is just so validating what I'm saying. This is where we're at. Look at it. All the suns. I know these aren't suns, but look at all these planets. They're all rising. They're all lined up. They're all aligned. Here's the sun. Here's all these planets. There's something going on right now that our souls are responding to because we signed up. We're on mission to do this. Those of us that are, okay, we're banding together. We're banding together to hold this frequency amidst this, because this is really strong, but this is getting stronger. Okay, and we're doing this together. We've been victorious, and the wheel has turned. Okay, so we're balancing on top on one foot, because the laws of physics are different over here, and we really are invincible. We're invincible because we're outside of the game. We're outside. We've had victory over the separation. We have victory over the trapping systems. We're free, and it was time. It's time for this. It's time, and we're doing it together. Beautiful. Oh gosh, I'm so grateful. It's been a long haul. It's been a long haul, and we've prepared for lifetimes. So very exciting. It's an understatement. Yes, mastery. Exactly, mastery. We mastered this game. We mastered this game, and we graduated out of it. It doesn't have any hold on us anymore. We've been free. We've risen up. We're in the new bubble. We're in this new place. Okay, mastery. 44 has become my number of safety. You are safe. Okay, because in this new energy, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, on the one hand, I think the feeling of I'm not safe is kind of waning for some of us, because it's just so gorgeous here. It's just ecstasy. It's like you have different aspects coming on. Different parts of yourself, like my dragon. And it's like I'm remembering things from when I was a child and how I felt, and same thing's happening for my daughter, just things where you're like, oh my God, like everything's flooding back in. So it's like, how can you not feel safe in that? But at the same time, you are interfacing with the world, and the world feels like this. So, it's just, but just that reminder that you're really, really supported. And again, you're not alone, because, we're all, those of us that signed up to do this, are all doing this together. But 44 being, especially 444 being an angel number, a number of protection. So you're also not alone. This is a planetary cycle. This is something that's, way beyond, it involves everything. It involves the cosmos. It involves, the cosmos. It involves everything. It involves the earth. It involves all the creatures, everything is doing this together. The ascended masters, the angelics, everything that is around us, the galactics. That this is a group move. It's a group move, and it's big, and not everybody is. And again, a lot of people are still stuck in this. They're defending this. They're creating this. They don't even know they're creating this. They get mad at you when you say things to the contrary. They get mad at you when you try to show them the way out. They attack you, and maybe it's this energy attacking you through them. It's like they're just channeling it, and they don't even know it, and that's okay. That's okay. That's just part of the game. That's part of the game where we're at this point in the planetary cycle. And the point is, you need the polarities. It's the world of polarity, so you need polarity. You need the dance of the polarities to alchemize and to complete and bring them back together. It's like that dream when I was talking about the from 3D to 4D to 5D, and the 4D trapping systems, and that dream I had of my grandmother, where we were weaving, and the threads were coming apart, and she told me I had to cut them even. They had to be cut separately. They had to be like completely separate, so that we could weave them back together. So the separation, the appearance of the separation is really, it's just getting even wider and wider, and that's okay. That's part of the design. That's part of how it is. That's part of the polarity. And it's like the way in the grandmother dream, it's like they had to be separate. You kind of have to know which which one you align with. You have to know which one you align with. Which part did you come to play? Which one did you come to play? And you have to play it because that's your role. You have to figure out which where you're at. It's reminding me of another dream that I had. See, this is the thing, is like all coming in where you're like, oh my God, the script was written and it was showing itself to me all this time and I just couldn't see it. Now you can see it. You can see it everywhere. You can see it everywhere. And so, yeah, and that it's okay. Like, it's okay that it's like this and it's all perfect and there's perfection in the chaos and there's perfection and just, but again, to align with your true energy, to align with, where you're at, and you don't let anybody knock you off, and if you're over here and you're not letting these people knock off, well, then you're playing your perfect part too. You're being true to your energy as you signed up to do it in this lifetime. So, all right, so let's see what else. I'm gonna pull an Ascended Master card. Just gonna let this reading go. I'm not gonna worry about time. I used to try to like wrap them up at like 30 minutes, but Twin Flame. Okay, Twin Flame Angus. All right, so there he is with the swan, Twin Flame. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the, in the last reading, it was like, the feminine and the masculine and the the left brain and the right brain in a sense, right? The polarity is coming into the proper alignment where, we're allowing our soul to lead. We're not having this like rogue masculine, it's just a way to define the energy, like the masculine energy in the world, the masculine energy in our personhood, we're not allowing it to go rogue because that's where you can get mind controlled, and that's where you can get sucked into these agendas because you're not in touch with you're not in touch what wants to be the soul card. I guess maybe this, you're not in touch with these higher frequencies. You're not in touch with your soul. You're just running the program that you've been shown, and so you're not creating. You're not creating for God. You're not creating an alignment with all that is. You're not creating out of oneness. You're creating out of a false reality, a distortion. A bubble. A false bubble. False thing. It wasn't really how I was talking about the bubble, but I'm just going to use it as that analogy because maybe that is what that means. We're in this false reality and we get outside of it. We get outside of it, and anyway, and so the twin flame, the union of the higher self and the lower self. This is, you're not with your higher self. You're with the program. You're with the conditioning. You're mind controlled. You don't know it. You're playing out what you're being told to play out. You're using the words you're being programmed to use. You're caught in the system. You're caught in the mind control. You're caught in the mind control. Okay, and then once you break through, like we were talking about, you break through. So Four of Wands, that's a twin flame card as well. It's like you have union with your polarities. They're working together, and that's the point again of this great divide. The great one side or the other. They have to be separate so you can see what they both are, so that you can figure out how to get them to work together. And I'm talking within ourselves. I'm not talking about like, have these conversations with these people that are in here, and like try to find a middle ground, and it's like, and you know what I mean. If you're listening to this and you're resonating, you know what I'm talking about. So, but it's that conversation between the masculine and the feminine parts of yourself where they work together, where they're in support of each other. So that message keeps coming up because that's the creation principle. That's you get the one and the one, and you put them together, and then three is the creation energy where you birth heaven on earth by being in union with your higher self, by being in union with the higher frequencies. You go within, and you find that energy and that connection within yourself. And yeah, it might look self-absorbed. It might look like you're not caring about the world and you're not out there trying to save it because you're just taking care of yourself. But when you take care of yourself and you go within and you find that connection to your divinity, that's when you become a God fractal, and your energy is able to change the collective consciousness. It's able to contribute to the collective consciousness, to tip the scales, to bring more light onto the planet where the manifestation of that consciousness, the collective consciousness, starts to create heaven on earth. And that's just how it works. Consciousness creates. All of this is a reflection of consciousness. It's a reflection of consciousness. And, in the beginning was the Word. And, and it's like, all the spells that are getting us to create negatively with our focus, with our emotions, with our thoughts, with our beliefs. Okay, so we have the power to do that. And when we know that and we bring our attention back to our soul and back to connecting with our soul and taking that time, then we become a creative force. Okay, and everybody that does this finds that same higher mind. It's like one mind. It's telepathy. It's a joint effort. It's again that mission that we're all doing together. We're all doing together. So you put put that all together. And again, one person in alignment with source consciousness is more powerful than a million people that aren't. So you get people all across the world, you know, we're placed all across the world like little lights, getting that to do that together at this time. You know, we're shifting this world. We're shifting this world, and we know that. Okay, so I'm going to do Secret Language of Light. Create space. Yeah, all right, well, create space. But so this is kind of the energy that I was feeling, like when you do take the space and you do create space to go within, it's like there's, you know, there's this oneness, this unity consciousness, this one mind, this one truth, this one thing that gets discovered from within that space that you create. You make room for it. It's just waiting for you to turn towards it so that it can birth within you. It's that third eye opening where you can see from these higher levels. You can come into that master. You can master the game and jump into this new bubble. There's the bubble. There's the new bubble. 3 and 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, and then here's the 11 with the 4 of Wands is always kind of an 11, 11 card. So walking through that portal, Are there any decks that I did not pull from? I think I pulled from them all. Sometimes that's when I'm like, okay, time to invite a wrap up, and we are at 40 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to do one last card to, you know, just if there's anything else that wants to be said, one closing message. We'll see if I post this. I never not post. I always like read it and I'm like, no, that needs to be said. But this one is just, I'm a little fiery, so we'll see. All right, so we get the King of Air. This is the higher mind card. This is the one mind card. This is the space that we all reach when we do go through that portal and we do access this within our hearts. It's like the coherency, the heart-mind coherency. You discover the same truth. You discover the same things. When you're talking to somebody that's on the same page as you, you finish each other's sentences. You know exactly what you're talking about. You don't even need to talk, you know. And so this is the space. This is the space that, you know, in this energy at this time, you know, we're all kind of being called to go within. We're finding this together, and as we find this together, we build such a strong circuitry of this energy on this planet that we're literally birthing. We're literally birthing the new reality together. This is the yoni. This is the you know, this is the canal. This is what we're birthing. We're rebirthing ourselves through this energy, but we're also rebirthing the world, and we're doing it together. So thank you so much for joining me in this consciousness and joining me in this knowing and joining me on this brainwave, because whenever we tap into that, we merge in the telepathic network with all the other people that are doing that, and that it you know, it's like 1 + 1 = 11, right? You know, it's like we're just expanding and expanding. We're creating. So if you can have the courage, you know, if you are sort of, you know, just merging out of this energy, or if you haven't yet, if you can just have the courage to know that you are safe to jump, you are safe to allow yourself to rise above, and that you will be able to balance on the top. You will be safe. You will have that. And there's so many other people here already waiting for you, ready to join and create with you. And so thank you for all the people that are taking those courageous steps to again birth through these portals, to you know, kind of face this kind of energy within yourself that makes you feel like you're going to die, or you're not going to be safe, or you're going to lose this and you're going to lose that and you're going to lose this, and you know, just again knowing your safety, knowing that you're safe, knowing that, you know, the laws of physics are different, and you can literally, you know, you can do things you couldn't do in the other energy, and just trusting that. And again, knowing that there are so many of us here, and knowing that this is the time. I love that this card is representing that, what came through for my daughter. She started channeling, it was like July of like 2 years ago, not this past July, but she started clicking on in these ways, and she was just like pulling through these amazing messages. It just happened one weekend where I was like, what the heck, you know, like what the heck happened? And so this was kind of the card. That was that card of like, you know, when humanity hears the call. And I'm just feeling that energy. I'm feeling that this is the energy that's going on right now. So, and building more and more and more. So again, yeah, a lot of dragon activation energy. So thank you so much for listening and for joining on this wave with me, and with all of us. And I'm just going to stop talking now, and much love, and I'll see you next time if I do. Okay.